I'm just trying to set up my my heckling crew. It's awful boring here. You listen to me talk all the way through. So what I've done is I'm trying to hire a heckling crew. Someone that'll give me a hard time. I'm not succeeding very well. In the usual sense of courtesy, I guess we are told we're not supposed to interrupt an elder. We are told we are supposed to sit down and listen when an elder is speaking, especially when he's doing some knowledge, sharing some knowledge that he carries. I've been a teacher for quite a long time, and I quite disagree with that. And I'm pretty well up in age, so I'm allowed to do that. Argue with any elder that comes along. Usually I give them tobacco and I say, well, I got something to tell you. Away we go. But I find that I'm able to participate in language a lot better if I have participants and people that ask questions, people that give information, and people that sometimes question what I'm saying. And in most cases, a lot of times you'd be in trouble if you question a person that's giving directions and information. But I don't mind that. I enjoy that. I can be questioned. I can be approached. I can be confronted. I can run faster than most people anyway. And a lot of times that's why I stand up. I have a head start. Some people say I could have been another Don Bernstick, but I don't want to heal that many people all at once. This man works with hundreds and thousands, a few thousand, a few times I've seen him. And he has people laughing for a good hour at a time. And to me, that's a lot of work. He looks after a lot of people. And he's been blessed with that. So, other than that, when I put on a teaching thing, especially the language, I try to keep it as close together as I can. And I try to go where you want to go. I was started out teaching when I was about 30, and I did a lot better doing groups inside prisons. So that's where I went. Doing a lot of confrontational analysis inside a prison isn't very healthy. However, I did pretty good. Especially the heckling part. I got used to that pretty good. When you're working with a lot of guys that are very, very violent, and a lot of guys that are high maintenance. A lot of times people have to be put in a safe place because they don't know how to maintain themselves, and they have a hard time with authority. And so, are there any questions before I start? Comments? Concerns? Maybe I should put on a sales pitch. Get everybody rolling here and get this place lively. I'm Gidooshk. I'm from the Bear Clan, and Atikameksheng. I was raised by grandparents because my mother didn't want me. And a lot of times people would be kind of embarrassed to say that, but when you're 15 years old and you have a little kid in your hands and there's no mother allowance, no form of money, you try to get help as fast as you can. And that's what my mother did. Gave me away to my grandparents so she could go on and live a different life. And she's still alive. She's actually I say she's only 15 years older than me. And she raised another family. So if I had stayed with my mother, I wouldn't know my language. I probably wouldn't know a lot of things that I do today. Because I was raised with grandparents, I was raised in a different way. And I was raised with a lot of medicine people. How many of you have been to a shaking tent? 1, 2, 3. How many of you would like to go to a shaking? Things are going the way we're going here in this place here. You might be in one before you know. How many of you have fasted? And how many of you have been to a powwow? One of the things that I like about a powwow is if I go to a powwow where a drum group knows how to hit the drum exactly with the beat of your heart. And when you have a child in your hands, and your heart beats at a certain rhythm when your child is in your hands. If a drum group can hit that note and hit that beat at a powwow, you'll see all kinds of people walking around in a different sort of way. Some of them will be dancing without even being aware of it. Some of them will be shining. You can see. If you stand back, you can see their aura changing with each beat of a drum. That's pretty neat. The things that you notice when you've been to a ceremony. One of the questions I was asked this morning pretty early is, or I was told, there was a couple of powwows this weekend, and I wasn't seen at any one of them. And so some people were kind of concerned. I'm involved in languages and culture and everything. And they said, Lorney, we didn't see you at the powwow. Don't you go to ceremonies? And I said, well, sometimes. But I was raised in ceremony. There's a big difference. Going to a ceremony and seeing the stuff that's being shown is a whole difference. And being in ceremony and living the way you have to live when you're living in ceremony. It's an entirely different street. Some of the things that are no powwows are quite okay when you're being raised in ceremony. A lot of times in our First Nations, when I was a kid, when you got in trouble, somebody came and kicked your ass. And I told you to smarten up. And a lot of times today, you try to help a young child see the right direction. you get in trouble with the parents and the whole community. So it's a whole different ballgame out there. When I was a kid, I was raised in a Finn community. A lot of Finlanders in the community where I was. I was playing on the highway, on the road. Finlander would run out with a stick, chase me off the road. I would get off the road, man. And then my grandmother would be on the other side of the road with a broom, ready to take over where the guy left off. You know? I wasn't protected from going in the right direction by my parents. I was helped along by the community. And I was putting together something for what I'm going to be presenting later on this afternoon that has to do with community. The idea of a community raising a child, the idea of a community looking after a child. And so that's what I'm practicing here. That looks pretty good what you're eating there, Kel.
Sorry, I've got another.
That's okay. So to start the day, we'll go off with a list and then we'll stop with comments after. And I would like is to repeat after me some of these words. First one is Biinhskow, giminchkownak. Your turn. Biinhskow, giminchkownak. Weweni, bibiichiin. Weweni, giizhoopizon. My teacher would say, I don't hear some of yous. Daasin, gaazhooyaak miikanaang. Gidooshk biinhskan. Try that again because it's a hard one. Gidooshk biinhskan. Weweni miikanaang. Weweni miikanaang bimosenh. Mnobizo gidooshki daabaan. Giminoyaa giizhoopizon. Giizhoopizgin. Giizhoopizon. Giizhoopizon. Mnobizo na endaayin. Gizhide na endaayin. Some of you got that right, and I got it wrong. That's pretty good. I got it wrong and you got it right. Gizhide na endaayin. Any questions you got? Comments? Some of these are things that you say to your child when they're running out the door with no hat on, and no proper shoes, and no proper boots. That was yelled at me pretty well every day when I was a kid in wintertime. Because I love to be outside, and I didn't mind the cold, and I didn't mind the cold. And I thought if I took the time to get dressed, I'd miss out on what the rest of the kids were up to. So when that happens, you rush through kind of fast. Also, some of these words are repeating, being used in different ways. Some of them are something about new things, new hat. Put on your new hat. Does your new car go good? You feel good in dressing warm. A lot of times there's been some really good information from the students on how I could present this language in a way that it can be acquired. And that's what I'm trying to do is, first of all, have you get used to how you have to move your mouth in a different way, speak a different language. And you literally have to speak, you have to breathe differently to say some of these words. And you have a different body language when you are speaking the Ojibwe language. You also have different facial expressions. You know, you'll see a lot of the old people, you know, they'll be going, you know, I pish Asia, and then the old person go, whoa, with it. You know, puts the whole lips into the journey and everything. That way you can't get lost. Eh? Any questions so far?
Each of them commercially, know exactly where it's being applied.
Right.
I'm just wondering if you could break it down a little bit more, so you know exactly what.
Okay. We'll try that. Weweni means the word carefully. Put and carefully are together. Weweni means two things. Put them on with care and also dress yourself for the weather outside. Be careful how well you dress yourself. Weweni, giizhoopizon. Weweni again is a request for you to dress warmly, dress carefully, in a different way, but it means pretty well the same thing. Someone concerned about how well you dress. A lot of these expressions are said with care. Somebody cares for you. Somebody I would be talking to, say, a 4-year-old child as they're going out the door with no coat on. These would be some of the things that would be said. Giizhoopizon means dress warmly. Daasin is socks. If there was one sock, you'd say Daasin. Daasin, gaazhooyaak, miikanaang. Socks that are warm. Biinhskan is put on. Gidooshk wiiwkwaan miikanaang. Number 5. Your new hat. Your new is Gidooshk. Wiiwkwaan is hat. Biinhskan is put on. wiiwkwaan biinhskan. Weweni biinshkonyen. Weweni again is carefully. Biinshkonyen is dress. It's used in a different way again, but again with care. Weweni miikanaang bimosenh. The word carefully is there. Walk is at the end, bimosenh. On the road is miikanaang. Mnobizo na gidooshk daabaan. Does your new car go good? Mnobizo means go good. No, it's a question. Mnobizo na gidooshk daabaan. No is does your new car go good? There's the word number 5 is gidooshk. This one is gidooshk daabaan. Go good. Mnobizo. Mnobizo. No endaayin. Endaayin is where you live. Gizhide. Gizhide is warm. Eat it. Again, it's a question, so the NA is in there. Mnobizo no endaayin. Is your home nice and warm? Mnobizo no endaayin. A lot of these questions are usually when you are with someone that you care for and you want them to be comfortable. So you're asking them questions and you're not confronting them with anything other than the fact that you care about how they feel. Any other questions? Any questions? If you say Daasin, you could also be saying, come here. Daasin, you could be saying myself. Daasin, you say me, come here. A lot of mothers, they will say to their child, Daasma, Daasmanti. Come here. Some of these words are almost the same, but not quite. They mean totally different. Bibiichiin. A lot of times you could also be getting ready to put your socks and your boots on, but they usually say, your parents will usually say bibiichiin. Sometimes the I is silent, a bit, bibiichiin. And I chose to put the BI in there so that it'd be easier for you to remember. Bibiichiin. Weweni bibiichiin. I probably tried to made arrangements with Melanie to, I'm going to be progressing with using words in about 3 or 4 different instances so that you will know that you can use them in a whole different setting. And when you hear it being said in a different setting, you will also be able to recognize that it's a word that you know. And you'll be able to continue to use it in a different way. To be able to acquire a language, you pretty well have to start to use the words that you know in different ways. And you'll also be able to know and recognize the word when you hear the word being used in a totally different way, in a different instance, and used in for a different reason. It's trying to put it together. That's how I learned how to speak Finn, and I tried to teach the language same way. I don't do drills because nobody ever drilled me to speak Finn. They just gave me one sentence, and they kept on doing that until I understood. Not in one day, but every, when I run into them, they say, Kitos Palio and things like that. I found that learning the language now in English the same way. First language I ever learned, the first word I ever learned in English was play. Come play. And or let's play. And the word that I learned right away was play, because it meant I was going to have some fun. So it came to me as, let's play. It's okay. Come and play. Come play in my house. Let's play on a TV time. Let's play at the swings. I did all those because I began to understand what was being said. At that time, the downtime for me in learning a language in grade 1 was when we talked about Dick and Jane. How many of you guys ever read the book Dick and Jane? Holy smoke. I'm that old. That was the #1 reader we used to use. See Dick jump. Jump, jump, Dick. See Sally play. Play, Sally, play. I still remember all those words because you repeated them so many times. That book, I had it repeated to me at least 3 times, the whole book within about 2 weeks. And I got tired of Chip playing. I got tired of Sally crying. I got tired of jumping up and down. But that's all you heard for at least 2 weeks in grade 1. I learned more in the schoolyard than I did in the classroom. So that's why you're getting a little bit of this stuff here. Otherwise, I'd be saying, biinhskonyen. Aha, giizhoopizgin. Biinhskonyen. I'd be saying that over and over again about 10 times. And I know you wouldn't have very much fun with it. That's not acquiring a language. That's learning by repetition. There is a certain amount of brain power that's needed to do those things. I like things to be a little bit easier. And that's how I try to present this. They told me that you have to teach this language so that it's acquired. And that is what I'm trying to do. Some people say I should be doing it this way or that way. And so far, within the year, I've seen that 3 people learn the language really well. I think I might be on the right road. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
In both 8 and 10, the MNO note, that means good.
No. Yeah. Yes. Very good. No. No pocket. Amija. No. No giizhga. No maatse. How else would you use that in the words that you learned today?
Is there a difference between no as good and shin as good?
It shouldn't. Not too much. No giizhga is something is happening. Giizhga is it's already done. It's already done, but something is in motion. No, it's happening as per se. No giizhga. Nishid means it just sits there and is good. Like a what? It's tastes good because you're eating. As you're eating, you say mnobizo. Very good observation. Any other questions, comments?